Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Let me know that you're here. Give me a hashtag replay since this early on you're probably watching the replay, or just say hi and tell me where you're from. I'll just give it a couple seconds for people to join. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I know I focus so much on that self-care for the weekend, and really the reason I do is just because in order for us to be effective leaders and to really be the leaders that our industry needs, we really do need to take care of ourselves. It's very important. So I hope everybody took care of themselves this weekend. I know I did, and had a wonderful weekend, so I hope everybody else did too. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Evelyn Knight. I am the host of the Childcare Business Coach podcast. I'm also the founder and CEO of Childcare Business Professionals, which is a company that helps childcare owners and directors find success in their companies while streamlining their business and finding profitability and maintaining high quality research-based standards. My mission in that company is to just help owners and directors actually who feel like they're just failing, or like their center controls them, or feeling like you just can never get ahead. I was that owner once. I know how lonely it feels. I know how incredibly lonely it is sometimes to be an owner and a director and you just feel alone and in that struggle. So that is my mission, is to help more directors and owners not feel alone and to have a team come behind them that can lift them up. I know sometimes in this field we can get pretty beat up. It can be a tough field. So that's what my mission is to help you to know it doesn't have to be that way, and that we can lift each other up, and I can give you the resources and the information you need to find that success and balance. I'm also a childcare center owner. I have owned a total of 4 programs throughout my career, 3 centers, 1 in-home, so I've done it all. I've also been a director. I've done every job in a childcare center, so I definitely know what it feels like. I have a current center now. I'm looking to purchase another one, so and I've done it all. I've built from the ground up. I've taken over existing centers. I've had to reopen centers. So I've got a lot of experience, and that's what I really want to share with you guys. Why reinvent the wheel and try to figure things out on your own when I've done it. I've had plenty of stumbles, and I've fallen down plenty of times and gotten back up. So might as well use my resources, and that's what I try to bring to you guys here. But the most important thing is mindset, and that's why I do my Mindset Mondays, and that's why over the weekend I really encourage you to focus on self-care, because I know that mindset is 90% of the game. It is. And hi, Beth. Let's see. Is that a hunk of meat? Or it is actually. Okay, so now that you see, I'll show you. That is my tiara, right? I love rock collecting. I'm a big-time rock collector. So this is a beautiful piece of granite that was found out in the Nevada desert. Isn't it gorgeous? So not a hunk of meat, but I love my rocks. I love going out into the desert and collecting rocks, but I gave my rock a tiara. It was part of my Halloween costume one year, so I thought, gotta make the rock look pretty. Gotta give it a tiara. And then my dogs actually knocked my table over and broke my last display, so now I have a new display. I'll have to get a nicer rock though if everybody thinks it's a hunk of meat. So anyway, thanks for pointing that out, Beth, because I definitely need to. You thought it was a brisket. That's awesome. I'll definitely have to get like a crystal there or something instead. I actually did collect some crystals, so a crystal might be a better choice than this beautiful piece of granite. It is, in person, it is absolutely stunning. So, hello Roxanne, how are you today? That's what happens when you live in Texas. Everything looks like meat, right? Well, in Nevada, I don't know, Nevada's not too far off. We're probably very similar, but I back to the desert, and I absolutely love Nevada rocks. I've been collecting them for years, and if you guys saw my desk, I have like an assortment of just rocks that I've collected out of the desert on my desk. So I think I'll definitely replace it with one of my crystals though. Crystal might be a little bit prettier than a big hunk of meat rock. That's fantastic though. I love it. But yes, I totally get the whole beef thing. Yeah, because Nevada ranching is pretty big too. So today, and I love starting, I gotta say thank you, Beth, because I love starting Mondays with laughter. I mean, what better way to start a Monday than with laughing, right? And just focusing on positivity, and just, one of my mantras right now is, instead of crying, we got to replace it with laughter, right? There's always something, some humor, something positive to see in everything. We just have to try hard sometimes to see it. And in the world we live in right now, it can be a little bit difficult, but we can do it. So mindset, that is one of the most important things, right? Just every situation, everything we go into, you can see it two ways. It can, and there's always something positive. I mean, this, for example, I could have let oh no, she sees this as a piece of me, my beautiful, but no, it's how I choose to see it. Like, I'm on camera here live. I could have definitely made that throw me off my game, but instead that, brings me joy. And it's just that mindset, right? Like, the things that come at me and into my life, I am going to look at from a place of joy. And so today, I'm going to talk to you guys about a new concept I learned last week. I was in a conference last week that was absolutely amazing. It was the Game Changer through Kelly Roach International, the Unstoppable Entrepreneur Program. And it was just really cool. So there were so many amazing sessions in the seminar. But the one thing that really, really stood out to me, and that I thought I would bring back to you guys, was in one of the Kelly sessions that she put on. And it was about return on energy. So most of us have heard the ROI, right? We hear it all. If you're in business, you know what ROI is, I hope. If you don't, you definitely need to work with me. ROI, if you don't know, is return on investment. So what you do is, like everything you look at, your money, you always want to make sure you're getting a return, right? We all know if you purchase a car, you're going to lose the money. That's just a given. Cars, there's no return on investment. But when you purchase a house, you're really hoping that there's a return on investment, right? We really want to see a return on investment with our houses. You're not going to buy a house that you're going to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on. We hope, right? I mean, we never know what's going to happen to the economy, but we hope. But with their business, it's the same thing. None of us go into business thinking, oh, I'm going to put all my money into my business, my energy, my time, and I'm just going to lose everything, right? We don't think that way. We go in wanting a return on investment. And the more proficient you get in business, you really start to learn more about those returns on investment, and you really start calculating. For example, I'm looking at purchasing another center. And I got together with my financial advisor early last week to look at one of the ones I'm looking at. And we realized, okay, there's no return on investment here. It would just be a waste of my time and energy. So we decided to move on from that deal that I'm looking at. So most of you understand the concept. You might not be proficient on how to figure it out, how to get it going, but you do understand the concept, right? So the new concept, which I get it, I live by it, but the way it was presented was really interesting and great. And it is that concept on return on energy. And the person who was talking about this was actually one of Kelly Roach's clients. And she just said that, the working with the program, she realized that ROE, return on energy, is actually more important than ROI. And I could not agree more. She's absolutely correct. And the reason for that is because if you really think about it, money comes and goes. And I know this, when I say this, it kind of drives people crazy, but I can tell you, I have been pretty I've had plenty of money in my life, and I've lost everything. I've gone a couple times. As a child, even my family was pretty wealthy. We lost everything, built back. So, from my childhood, I even saw that. Then my personal life, we were doing very well. We lost everything, and I built it back up. So I understand that money comes and goes. If you're in that situation right now, just remember, you can build it back up. You can. It does. It comes and goes. So it's, you know, and you see billionaires like Elon Musk is one of my favorites to use, where he understands and he is so in touch with that concept that he literally became a billionaire, lost it, and became a billionaire again, twice, you guys. But he realized that the risk was worth the reward, and he knew he could build it back up, right? And that's where, like, these higher level people, that's how they think. They're not afraid to lose the money because they know money comes and goes. We can get it back. But what doesn't is time. Bill Gates has also talked about how, you know, he knows how to make money, he can have an unlimited amount, but the most important resource we have that we can never get back, and everybody has the same, we all have 24 hours in a day, right? Doesn't matter if you're a multi-billionaire like Elon Musk or Bill Gates, we all have the same amount of time. And so that is our number one most important commodity, is our time, which is why return on energy is more important than return on investment. If I invest in something and I lose all my money, I know I can make it back, right? I've gotten to a point in my life where I know how to do that. And it might take time, of course, but I know I'll get it back, right? But I will not get my time back. I will not ever get that time that I put into that project back. That's gone forever. The time I took away from my children or my company now that I could have be nurturing, right? So protecting your return on energy is more important than your investment. That energy is going to trump investment, right? So the first thing I do for my clients is I have them go through my time management course. Always has been, even before I took this course. It's always been, because I understand and know that if you're really going to be an effective leader, I've got to teach you how to control your time. So many directors and owners think, well, I don't have time to do this and I don't have time to do that, which they do. It's just lack of time management, to be honest with you. I say it over and over. I run 2 companies. I have a family. I take care of a husband that's sick. I have a lot on my plate, but I have very good time management, which is not natural for me. I'll be the first to admit, if I naturally let my time management go, I'm horrible at it. So I had to really, really learn. I spent a couple years just studying time management so I could get it down. So it's the reason why. But what I really want to talk about is this concept of return on energy and what does it mean, right? And what I'm really talking about is I want you to pay attention over the next week to what are you putting your energy into? What are you really investing yourself in? And ask yourself, what return am I getting on this, right? What is this producing? So let's say, for example, you have a toxic friend and this friend is just zapping your energy. They're texting you all day, they're calling you all day, but they're just pulling you down all the time, right? That negativity and the constant just coming into your life is just sucking your energy. What kind of return are you getting on that? What is it taking away from the other parts of your life? Or even at work, right? Let's say you have a parent that's really hard to deal with and you continually engage with them and you're letting them just take that energy. What are you not accomplishing? Because that parent is sucking the energy out of your life during that moment, right? If you're starting your moment in the morning dealing with this parent that's really negative, what are they taking away? And now I understand we have to deal with the parents, right? We can't, but how are you letting it get into your mind? How are you letting this parent control the narrative for the rest of the day? One of the things I really like to tell myself every day is, I'm awake on average 14 to 16 hours a day, maybe even more sometimes. And so one of the things I tell myself is I cannot let a 5, 10, 15, even an hour-long interaction or event that happens in my day ruin the next 16 hours of my day, right? Or even if it's in the middle of the day, you've got to remember like your entire day span. Yes, you might have had this bad thing happen, right? And there's mornings, right, where a series of everything that can happen seems to happen, from the time you wake up late and then, I don't know, the dog throws up and garage door won't open. It just feels like everything, right? So your first 2 hours of your day may be really just coming at you with negativity. And the example I just gave you actually happened to me about 2 weeks ago, where everything just by the time I left the house, like, are you kidding me? What is going on here? So after that, though, I have to step back and ask myself, okay, everything that could go wrong in the first 2 hours went wrong. Well, not everything. I have to focus on, like, not everything, right? I'm breathing, I'm alive. There's so much to be thankful for. My children are doing well no matter what. But all of these events kept happening. And as my garage door wouldn't open, I had to stop, and I just like, the first thought that jumped into my mind was, oh, it's going to be one of those days. And I immediately told myself, no, stop it. It is not. It is going to be a wonderful day. And I am not going to allow the last 2 hours of my day to ruin the next 14. I have a choice, right? That is my decision. If I'm going to let something like the first 2 hours of my day, having one thing after another going wrong, if I'm going to allow that to ruin the next 14 hours of my day, that's my fault. That is all up to me. That has nothing to do with the fact that, I had a couple things happen in a row, right? And I did end up having a great day. So those are the kind of things you don't want to let it suck your energy, right? They're so easy for those things to suck our energy. So you've got to really control those thoughts that go through your head. And you have to just, when they come up, tell yourself, no, we are not going to allow this. This is how it's going to be. And just take charge of them. It's really helpful when we just really grab those thoughts and just take charge. So look at what is it that's sucking you dry. How can you really get control of that? And I know there's things like you might have a teacher that is just, the negativity is really tough, which then I think you need to listen to my podcast episode when it's time to say goodbye. If you do, I talk about when it is time to let teachers go. So listen to that if you have an energy vampire for a staff member. And look at those things and think to yourself, okay, I can't stop interacting with this person, but how can I make it better? What can I do to not let them suck my energy so that I can be putting my energy into the things that are producing positivity and productivity into my life, right? And those things that do focus on the positive and to your life, you need to prioritize them. Make sure that you're getting into those things. Give yourself time for those things that nurture yourself, but also the things that make you productive. So there's, of course, tasks that we don't like that have a good return on energy, right? So for example, going through our billing. Okay, I don't like going through my billing. I don't like seeing who owes me money, who doesn't, chasing the money, comparing my numbers from last year. I don't like doing it. But it has a really good return on energy, right? So I need to put myself into that. Let's see. Holly says, well, thank you, Holly. I thank you so much for being such a shining light. Thank you, Holly. I'm so glad I can help you today. That is my mission, is to help other owners. I was in a rut once. I was a owner I was just a mess. I was a mess, just always crying, and life was happening to me instead of me participating in it, I guess. And that mindset shift that I've had completely changed everything. So that's one of my missions, is to bring you guys that paradigm shift that I've been able to make in my life, which has made so much easier and made me so much more successful. So it's amazing how your mindset controls your success and your happiness and the joy that you find in life. It's so, so crucial, which is why I do these Mindset Mondays every Monday for you guys. But really look at those things that are just energy vampires and get them off your plate. Going back to the money scenario to you guys, I hate doing my own bookkeeping. I'm not good at it. So I hired, I work with my team and somebody else does it for me. Doesn't mean that I don't do it. I have to oversee it, right? That is absolutely something as an owner I cannot put completely off on someone else. I still have to oversee it, but I've learned other ways not to let it completely drain my energy, right? I don't let it completely take over that energy that I need. And when I do need to deal with it, at least I've reserved the energy to deal with it, right? So that's something that is really important to keep focused on. So when you have those energy vampires in your life, eliminate the ones that you can. And the ones that you can't eliminate, find ways to cope with them. Find ways to not just put a positive spin on them, but also to just, I don't know, find a way to put a positive spin on it and to just refocus the energy, right? So that you're not letting those energy vampires ruin your 16-hour days. It's really, really important for that to happen. So moving on, really just look at what's sucking you dry. Look at what you can take off your plate. Delegation is actually a very important part of that. Like I was saying about the money part, I can't 100% delegate that. I have to know what's happening in my books. I have to know the health of my business. But that doesn't mean that I have to do my own ledgers, right? It doesn't mean that I have to constantly keep up on bank transfers and, just every little tiny thing. No, if the parents that are paying fine and aren't late, I don't need to keep up with that stuff, right? That I can delegate. I just need to know the big overall picture. Are there parents that are falling way behind that need to be let go from the center, right? How do my bills look? Is there maybe something that shouldn't be there? Or is my balance sheet really balanced okay? Are my P&Ls looking okay? I mean, this year's tough. I'm not gonna lie, 2020 is hard to do your P&L comparisons. And for those of you guys who don't know, it's your profit and loss comparisons, which every owner, I hope you guys know. I really, really hope you know what your balance sheets and your P&Ls look like. Very important to the health of your business. So those are things I can't neglect, especially in a year like 2020, where COVID has really hurt our businesses. We really have to be diligent to make sure that our businesses are healthy, right? So those are things that I don't enjoy doing, but I have to do it. So if I eliminate the other energy vampires from my life or delegate some of them, then I can focus on those things that I really need to focus on that are giving me a return on my energy, right? And that nurturing part, the return on your investment. So think of them as a pair. Return on energy is going to equal return on investment. The other thing I really want you guys to think about in this situation is knowing your worth. How much are you worth an hour? Do you guys know, like, how much are you worth an hour, right? Should you be doing $10 an hour, $15 an hour, even $20 an hour tasks if you're worth $50, $75, $100 an hour, right? Put that number on you. You've got to figure out, how much am I worth an hour? How much do I want to be worth an hour? Anything under that pay grade, you take it off your plate. It is not worth your time and energy to do things that are not at your pay grade. That is a huge one I had to learn. I used to actually really, really enjoy doing my own landscaping at Zoom, and I loved it. But when I learned this concept, I realized that it's not worth my energy and time. I wasn't getting a return. I have to say, I was getting a return on the energy because I loved to do it. I liked how it looked. I liked how, but it wasn't getting me that return on my investment. The time I was putting into it wasn't worth, and it wasn't producing enough. So that was something I had to delegate, right? I used to clean the lobby, and I'll tell you right now, if Brandy's watching this, or if she watches it, she'll get upset with me for saying that, because from the day Brandy and I started working together, she absolutely hates seeing me clean anything at the center. And but I liked it. So especially when I need to think, I really liked it. So, but then I did again have to get to the point where I had to ask myself, am I getting a return on this, right? And so really think about those tasks that you're doing and the things that you're putting your energy into, and asking yourself, me giving my energy and my time to this task, what is the return? What am I getting out of it, right? And if you're not getting that return on your energy that you're worth, then you need to eliminate it. You need to delegate it, right? And when I talk about delegation, so many of you guys start thinking to yourself, yeah, but I only have one assistant and she's already really busy, or I don't have an assistant. But you can delegate to your teachers too. And delegating to your teachers is empowering for them. It is really empowering when you give them certain tasks. But let me add, you have to know your staff well enough to understand what their strengths are, what they like, and what their weaknesses are. And then when you're delegating these different things, you want to make sure you're giving it to them based on what brings them joy and what they're good at. So for somebody who just loves to recognize and just loves people really, delegate birthdays, anniversaries, coordinating things like potlucks, just any kind of employee morale. Make it their job. Even if it was actually at one point my lead van driver's job, because she just loved lifting people up. So that became her job. Roxy says, love that shirt. Well, thank you, Roxy. I love my shirt too. Thank you. So, anyway, finding the people to delegate, just make sure you're delegating to the right people. Okay. Before you delegate, you got to know what are their joys, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. One of the things we do in January Zone is we just come up with committees where we come up with like a list of those type of jobs, making sure our holiday parties are coordinated, our open houses, our different events, and we let the staff choose which one they would be a good fit. And then of course I do tweak it a little, just want to make sure it's a good fit for them, it's the right person for the right job, and we do them in teams. But you don't have to do everything, and your assistants don't have to do everything, right? The assistant director. Find the cooks, there's things like they could do bulletin boards. There's so much that you don't have to do. So find those things to delegate that are under your pay grade. You're actually wasting the company money if you're doing things like filing. That is under your pay grade. If you're a director or an owner, you need to be doing income producing tasks. Think of it that way, right? You need to really be focusing on what is bringing the company profitability. If you're doing stuff that is not bringing your company profitability, then you need to delegate it. Remember that return on energy. Do not put your energy into things that is not producing an income. So I know the next question that I always get when I say that is, what is an income producing task, right? So anything that is going to bring up the quality of your center is going to be an income producing task. And if you're anything that is not really adding to that, the quality, the nurturing in the center, the parents, your income, that is something that you need to wipe out. Let's see, Roxy says, if you feel that you maybe are trusting in delegation to a certain person, start out with something small. But absolutely, that's really a matter, yes, absolutely. And then train, absolutely, coach and train. And that's another thing I get a lot of when I really start working with my clients on the coaching piece and the training, the delegation is, yeah, but it only take me 10 minutes to do this task and it's going to take me 2 weeks to train. So what I always come back to is, how long have you been doing this task? And one of my clients I was talking to the other day told me, I've been doing it for 20 years. Like, really? 20 years. It takes you 10 minutes every day to do this task. And you're telling me training someone for 2 weeks is going to be more time than what you've just spent on the last 20 years? So that's something to think about too. I know it's hard, and so many of us, it's that human nature where we think that we have to do these things because it's easier, we do it right, but honestly, you're wasting more time. You got to do the delegation work. It's going to save you time in the end if you really do the delegation work. And you have to release the process. You don't have to release the outcome. And when it came to delegating, this was the hardest thing for me, was releasing the process. Because I would look at it and think, oh, that's not how I would have done it. I would have done this, this, and this. But I had to stop myself and tell myself, it doesn't matter. The results are the same. And to be honest with you guys, sometimes the results are better. I love watching Brady sometimes because it took me a long time to really delegate, like running my center to her. But when I did, I now can just step back and watch her grow. And I'm watching her grow beyond what I taught her. Like I've duplicated myself in her, and there's areas where I see her so much better than I ever was, and so much better than I ever would have been, right? Because it's just who she is and what she excels in. And it really is a beautiful thing. So if I hadn't let go of that, if I hadn't let go of that, trusting her to come up with her own processes, I would have never seen how she could have made my center even better, right? I've already laid the groundwork. I've already done what I can do, what my capacity, as an owner. So now giving it to her, not only is she taking what I've built and those pieces that I've put in place, but she's adding the pieces that she's really good at. And she's adding those, her strengths, and making my center even better. So really think about that. Whether you're a director or an owner, when you empower these amazing people that work for us, and they are amazing. I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, well, you don't know my staff. And I'll tell you, if you had that thought run through your head, you really need to take my leadership course, because it starts from us. It is us as leaders that make people who they are, right? So really just think about that, okay? Because we're the head, and it trickles down. It really does. When I had that attitude, I did not have a stellar staff. When my attitude changed and I became a better leader, suddenly that staff that I thought wasn't phenomenal, it's amazing how they became phenomenal. And I have to admit and realize it was me, it wasn't them. So just when you let them fly and you find their strengths and you really empower them to use those strengths, it is a game changer for your centers. And it really does make it so much better. I mean, just think about, we are one person. We are good at certain things. We have certain strengths. But if you get a team around you that has all these different strengths than yours, and you let them fly with those strengths, and you just let them take off, it is amazing what happens. Because there's always somebody who's going to be better than us at something, right? There's always somebody who's going to have smarter in some other way. So when you find those things where they're better and they're smarter, and you really let them fly with it, it really does make your center a way better place to be. So let's see, Roxy says, but no one can do it as well as you, as long as you get the same results. Hard, yes, and you're right. There are some things that they're just never going to be you, and they're never going to do certain things as well, right? But you just got to let it go. There are certain things that there are things that this was me, and in that case, I do come up with procedures. When I know that it can't be duplicated, I do come up with specific procedures that are in writing, and these are the absolute steps you have to follow. So there are areas, absolutely, where, when it comes to like tours and enrollment, that's one thing. When it comes to talking to parents and really just selling my center and my vision, I know that because it's my heart. But even though my staff has a buy-in, something when it came to like enrollment, I had to come up with very, very solid procedures, right? I have steps that those ladies have to take, because that's where I shine. And that is where, like, I know those absolute customer service steps. Those are the ones that I have to kind of be a little bit more controlling and micromanaging in. So just knowing those weaknesses and those strengths too is really important. So Rox says, give her a sense that she did it. Yes, and it was her idea. Absolutely. That's a great too, is just that empowerment. We have to empower our staff. And when you show them that you believe in them, when you empower them, when you really just give them that faith, you would be amazed how they just take off. I'll never forget the first staff meeting that I realized this. We were coming, I don't know, I've told you guys before, but it's been a while. We had one year where we actually had, it was an awful year. 2 of the children within our center actually passed away. And it was so sad. It was actually, one of them was the first baby I ever cared for as a business owner. And she had started with me as an infant at 6 weeks old. She was much older in, elementary school by the time she passed away, but she had gotten very, very sick. And then we had another child that was actually an employee's child pass away, and then we had another child almost die in our care. So all 3 of them had, the 2 were diagnosed. We knew they were sick. The infant had an undiagnosed illness we didn't know about, mom and dad didn't know about. And it was a rough year, very rough year. And this all happened within like a 6-month period where we lost two of the children and we almost lost one. And it was a very, very hard year. And it was January, and I just remember my staff there was this collective depression in my entire center. We were all just heartbroken and depressed, and I knew I had to do something or everybody was going to fall apart and I was going to lose my staff. And so I decided, and I tried everything. I called my workers' comp to see if we get therapy, and I just tried like so much to try and figure out how am I going to fix this. You know, we just lost children. And so we did a staff meeting, and I decided to really just focus. And this was the first time when I realized the power of my vision. I decided to focus on our vision, and I decided to really just help them to see why we're here and to remind them what we're here. And we were talking, and I basically told them, like, you know, yes, we lost these children, but think of what we've given them over the years, right? Think of the nurturing love and what we have done for them. And the one baby that almost passed, the EMTs actually called me that evening and told me we'd saved that baby's life. And had that baby been in someone else's care, he more than likely would have died because he had a condition nobody knew about. But when the way we act saved his life, so I told them that, like, look, this child's alive thanks to us, right? Thanks to the work we do. And I gave them examples of a lot of other children that we've helped over the years and really got them to focus on, this is why we're here. Yes, these two amazing children are gone and they're never coming back. But what we gave them, what we gave their parents, and that connection that we still have with the parents and even with them, right, is priceless. And I really shared, that was the first time I really shared my vision and my heart with my staff. And then I had them, each of them, share their vision and heart with me. And that's when I realized that I had these amazing women working for me, that I was blind because of my own pride and self-absorption. And that's when I really just shifted, like my whole paradigm shifted, and everything changed. And I really just started empowering them, and that was what really shifted me as a leader. And my whole center changed after that. And not only did we pull through together, but we became this really strong unit and team. And that's why I focus so much on my vision. That's why I teach my clients, you've got to have that vision and you've got to share it, and you've got to let them, it has to become all of our vision. And it really does become a game changer. The energy just that you put into it suddenly becomes worth it. So when you see that burnout, you guys, and your center starts to become the energy vampire for your staff, get them focused on why we do this. Why did you start an ECE? Why are we taking care of these children? Why did you, as an owner, director, right? And then help them to see, why did they choose to work with children? The return on energy that you're going to get from that. Absolutely amazing. So let's see. Keena says, thank goodness that you and your team pulled together. Yes, you have no idea. And a lot of them are still with me to this day. It's interesting. We could have definitely fallen apart, but it definitely brought us together. And even the ones who aren't with us anymore, we have quite the bond after going through that. It was, it is definitely something that could have destroyed my center. And if I hadn't, to a certain extent, really let go of self and ego, it really could have destroyed my center. But that's when I really had to just let go, and it made us better. It made us stronger. So that's something I really just want to leave you guys with, is when you have, like, this year has been an energy vampire, hasn't it? But we choose who we are going to emerge from situations as, right? As this year is really hard for us to get through, we get to choose who we're going to be on the other side of this. So be intentional with that. Put your energy into things that lift you up instead of tearing you down. And really just decide right now, when all this is over, who am I going to be? Where am I going to be? And focus on that. I've talked to you guys before about writing that letter to yourself, right? Now's a great time. Focus on writing a letter to yourself and thank yourself for the things that you're going to put your energy into, and thank yourself for eliminating the things that you need to eliminate that are just sucking the energy out of your life, right? Write yourself that thank you letter. And a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever you need it, open that letter up and just remind yourself of the things that you did for yourself, being the person that you needed to be in order to get to where you need to be, right? So right now, COVID is making our lives difficult. There's so much happening, but we don't have to let it be who we are. Decide today who you're going to be and really just go with that. And, so I really do encourage you guys. If you do, let me know that you write yourself those letters. They're awesome. I do it all the time. I write myself lots of letters to read in 2 years, and it's actually kind of fun reading them. It really helps you to project yourself into the future and gives you that energy that you need. So make sure to let me know. Send me a message. I would love to know that you did it and that if it was helpful, I hope it's something that will help you in your life. So that's what I'm going to leave with you guys this Monday. Again, feel free to reach out to me throughout the week. I hope everybody has an absolutely wonderful week. Oh, you're welcome, Krisha. I'm so excited to work with you too. It's going to be fun to start working with you. So we need to get you scheduled on my books so we can get your first client session going. But I hope everybody has a great week, and don't let those energy vampires ruin your week. Remember that even if an incident lasts 2 hours of your life, is it really worth letting it suck the next 14 hours of your day, right? So we've got a lot of hours in the day. Don't let one incident, one thing ruin that. And remember to just stay focused on that return in your energy. Have a great week, everybody.